Hey everybody, thanks for coming back to Shane's Soldering Station. Today's episode, got an Xbox One S here. Now, the thing with this is a few episodes back I was talking about going to a horror movie convention and making an episode out of that. Well, of course that didn't pan out because the convention got canceled. So, not wanting to reschedule our time off, me and my friends, we took our time off, we rented a cabin and hung out for the weekend. So I brought this thing with to watch some movies while we were up there. And picked out a movie, went to put it in, and it refused to take a movie like a young child refusing to take Aunt Martha's homemade pimento loaf. So, I thought, well, hey, that's something I could make a quick episode out of, figuring out why it's not taking this. So, just the other day, I was testing it out, got it all hooked up, seeing if it was going to take a disc, and sure enough it did. Took the disc in, started installing the game, and I'm like, well, now I guess I can't really make an episode out of that if it's starting to work. So popped the game back out, popped it back in just to make sure, and then all of a sudden it started kind of making a funny noise. And I'm like, well, okay, well, maybe this is episode material. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it over onto the teardown table, pop her apart, and see what's making the noise. Honestly, I think it's probably got some dust buildup on the fan and it's probably throwing it a little bit out of balance and stuff, but who knows? We'll get her over there, get it all apart, and then we'll even take that disk drive apart and maybe give that a cleaning too while we're at it. So let's get it over under the table and check it out. Okay, we're here at the teardown table. Let's get this Xbox One S apart and see what is making all the noise. So what we gotta do is we gotta flip this over first. Gotta remove this warranty sticker. Get that out of here. We don't need that no more. I think it's past its warranty. What kind of neat little sticker. I was gonna see if that'll stay there. Alright. We're gonna have to pop that out later. Okay. What we gotta do is we gotta get this piece separated from that, and then there's gonna be some screws under here. Got a pry tool from my iFixit kit here. So get under in there. There we go. Alright. A little persuasion. And that's off. Okay. Now, we got to get all these, let me zoom in here for you. There we go. Get a little bit more in the shot. We got these green screws here. These all have to come out. Those connect the top case to the bottom there. Grab my Fantix screwdriver for this. Make it a little quicker. Let's get these green guys out. Alright. I don't think these will be hard to get mixed up with anything. We should be able to flip this over. Here's something rattling around in there. That's not a good sign. Alright. There we go. That lifts off just like that. Ooh, that's all kinds of dirty under there. Yeah, and you can see the swirls from the fan. We're gonna get this all cleaned up and cleaned out, cause yeah, there's some nastiness going on in there. And yeah, ooh, we got dead critters. We've got dead critters. Okay, so I have to flip this thing back over. Oh boy, yeah, wow, look at that. Definitely got some cleaning to do in here. Bunch of dead critters and dust bunnies and holy cow Maui. Yeah, I'm definitely glad I took this thing apart, because it needs some cleaning. Definitely needs some cleaning. We're gonna, whew. Okay, let's flip this back over. Might tear down. Oh, I must have broke one of the tabs. Yep. Well, I haven't taken one of these apart before, so guess that's gonna happen. So let's get the rest of these screws out of here. And I gotta, hopefully they are all the same size. Yep, okay. Push down on this without the case. There we go. Now, I better take this off too. It's not going to be a little bit smaller. Will you stand there? All right. Go. Take that off, and I'm gonna take this front plate off. Same thing, it's got, pull it up here, just kind of dump these screws. Yeah, so both these little panels that I just pulled off, both have these little white plugs that go right here. Nice and simple to pull out. Okay, this cover should lift off, right? Yep. There we go. Okay. Oh my god, oh boy, this is just, whoo. We got all kinds of nastiness going on in here, that is for sure. Dusty, dirty. Got some cleaning. Definitely got some cleaning. Oh, there's the other part of that tab that I broke. Not overly worried about that. That's not a big deal. Man, oh man, yeah, just caked with dust and dirt. I'm actually gonna have to take this off camera, maybe like out to my garage or something, and take a can of compressed air and blow this thing off, because wowzy. And I'm hoping that's dirt and not during like bug droppings all inside here, because that just makes it even more nastier. Alright, So, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take this thing. I'm gonna go get it all blown off so we can work on it better. It's not all gonna be all crappy and nasty to work on. So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll be back in a minute to get back at this. All right, we've got it blown off as good as I can. We gotta start getting it apart here. And then, well, yeah, the fan is still kind of nasty here, so that is going to get cleaned yet. I'm going to take apart the disk drive. We're going to clean that out. So let's start popping things out of here. Get the hard drive out of here. Let's pop these little plugs out. There we go. Alright, now let's get the disk drive out of here. There we go. Easy peasy. Oh, there we go. That slides out. So the plug's gotta get unplugged there. Alright, I think it's coming along here. Almost got it. There we go. Yeah. Oh God, that is just all kinds of horrible. All kinds. But we'll get her cleaned up. You need to come out of there. Just gonna pop you back and you pop out. There we go. Alright, power supply is out. Alright, so we got everything out of here now. I'm gonna get this nasty fan cleaned up. Looks like I'm gonna take the power supply out to my garage and the can of air and kind of blow through this thing, clean it out. And then we'll take the disk drive apart, take a look inside this thing and see what's going on in there. Now we've got the disk drive down on the table here. Let's get this thing apart, get it all cleaned up, find out why it wasn't taking the disk. I'm assuming it's just dirty inside considering the condition of the rest of it that I had to clean. So let's get this guy off of here. Alright. Just take this little screw. Now, should probably pull this plug out of here. Make it a little bit easier to get this plastic part off. I'll grab my pliers. Pop it off. There we go. That's the ticket. Now, this should just pop off here. Oh, okay, I see what's going on here. That's got to bend up a little bit. Start moving that out of frame. There we go. Now she should just, there, slide off. Beauty. Now, got these 4 little Phillips head screws here. Alright. I got that unscrewed. Should be able to just lift this up. Let's see if I can shimmy that. Oh. There we go. I don't know if I can get to this part here without having to take a whole bunch of stuff off. Well, let's just detach this thing here. I can stick it back down. There we go. Well, I see the disc roller right here, and it is pretty dirty. I don't know if I can manually turn that. At least if I can get the front off of here and clean the rollers and everything for the disc feed, because I think that's all that's really wrong with it. Maybe I'll throw a little fresh grease on the worm gears and stuff in there and grease up the slide a little bit for the laser, but other than that, it doesn't look terrible in here. Okay, well, we'll be back in a second. Well, I did some looking to try to find out how to take this front part off without having to disassemble the whole disk drive, because I really don't want to have to disassemble the whole disk drive. It works. So, I mean, I just wanted to get this front off to kind of clean the intake mechanism for the disc, and then grease up the sliders and the gears, get some fresh grease on that. But so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean this inside roller in here for the intake roller for the disc. Use a little IPA and a Q-tip, get it cleaned up. Then I'll get some fresh grease on these gears and then on these sliders, and then the worm gear on there, I'll put some fresh grease on there. So it'll be all good to go. We'll slap her back together, and then I've got that fan to clean up. So let's get to cleaning up this roller and move it along. Give it a good quick swabbing. Yeah, she's kind of dirty. Not terrible, but we got her clean. All right. Now, I've got to go dig through one of my totes, and because the only grease I got, I really need to pick up some grease for this kind of stuff. But the only grease I know I have is a little sample packets of grease for my 3D printers, and I got a ton of them. So I'm gonna grab one of those, and I'll be back in a second. Got some grease. So I'm going to clean these little sliders real quick. Just take the Q-tip and that old nasty grease off of there that kind of maybe collected some dust. Alright. Now, this around. On this side. Just want to get the Q-tip here. Get a little bit more on this one. There we go. Now, I'm gonna try to get some in under that worm gear. Fresh glob in there. It should get it in there pretty good. It should spread itself as it's turning when it's loading a disc and all that. So, Q-tips here, throw those away. Okay, clean that intake roller. Oh, nope, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Almost forgot, we gotta grease these gears up. So Squeeze it on there. Go on in there. Just a little bit on these gears. Now I can put the disk drive back together. I'm not going to film putting the case on there. You see me take it off. You don't need to see me put it on, right? And then I'm going to grab that fan, and then we're going to tackle that, get that nasty thing all nice and clean, and then we can throw the Xbox back together. And, well, actually, I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning on that case, get that all cleaned up off camera and stuff in the metal part of the casing and stuff. I'm going to give that a kind of a quick clean too before we put it back together. So next you're going to be seeing, we're going to be cleaning that fan. So the fan is on the table, and I mean, my God, there we go. You can kind of see this thing is gnarly, really dirty. So going to give it a few spritz of the Dex, get that on there, let that kind of just sit, kind of start working on getting that grungy crap on the blades loose so we can get that off. Because what happens is that dust will build up on those blades, and it doesn't build up evenly. So when it doesn't build up evenly, when that thing's spinning around, your fan starts getting out of balance. Once that fan gets out of balance, well, then it starts wobbling around and then beating the heck out of your bearing in there, and all of a sudden that fan just starts flopping around. So I'm going to get this fan all cleaned up so it's ready to go. Let's get a few, there we go, kind of hit it with that, and we're going to sit for a minute here. Okay, fan's all cleaned up. Got all that nasty, grimy stuff off the blades. Now, just gotta get everything put back together, and we'll be good to go. So, see you back in a second. So, everything is clean. Let's get it back in the case, get everything put back together, get it hooked up, and let's test it out. So, first things first, let's get this fan back on. I got pretty much that brown ring that was in there off. I mean, there's always going to be a little bit of staining with that kind of stuff, but we got it off with a toothbrush and a little IPA. So we just gotta slide him back on. There we go. Back in there. Now, let's get, wasn't any screws I had to put in there right now. And this sits on there like so. Now there's screws that's got to go in here. Yep. We got to go from this end And we got to do all the green screws. Really kind of wish I would have marked which ones the green ones were. Okay, I'm actually going to bring up a map of where the green ones go because I forgot. And I'm not going to go back through my recordings to see where it is. So, back in a second. Okay, so I found a map of the screws. So I got all the silver ones in place. Oh, wait a minute. Ah, I thought I was missing one. Alright, so let's get all these put in. And then we can get this into the top of the case. And we get that all screwed down. Get it all put back together. Alright, we got all the metal case screws back in. Let's get the top part of the case in here. Get this back together. Make sure, oops, sorry about taking that out of frame there. Just want to make sure everything is going back together like it should here. I think we're off the mark. I'm forgetting some stuff here. I'm forgetting some stuff. I gotta get back out of here. Huh. I forgot to put the boards back on. Alright, we're gonna set case aside there for a second. Alright, we need to get this board back on here. Make sure that's sitting there. That just plugs in. Perfect. Okay. Then we got these little black screws we gotta put in. Alright, that's that one. And we gotta get this one back on. Go. I was kind of thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, man, am I forgetting something? And it was just staring me right in the face. They were sitting right beside me. And as I was looking in the case when I was putting it together, I'm like, something doesn't seem right. Okay, now we can get this into the top of the case. There we go. That seems to sit much better. Gotta get right, that side sitting in there. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Now we get the big green screws in here. All right, let's get those screwed in. All right. Now we just gotta slap the top part of this case back on, and we are good to rock and roll. All right. Get that. There we go. All the buttons feel clicky. We're good on there. All right. We're good to go. Let's get it back over by the monitor. We'll get it hooked up and check it out. Well, I got everything hooked up to the monitor. Let's fire this up. We'll throw a disc in it, see what it does, see how it sounds, and we should be good. So let's fire it up. All right, we got that to turn on. That's good. Switch the monitor over. Grab Mortal Kombat 11 to throw into it and see See what it does. Okay. Fan sounds way better. Way better. Yeah, that's, like I said, that's a problem with these fans, and any fan in any of these things where that dirt can get built up on those edges, and it'll get built up unevenly, start throwing that bearing out of whack, and then it's just flopping around in there. Alright, here we go. Cool beans. Awesome. So that's good. Let's throw a disc in. See how that sounds? I re-greased all the gears and stuff in there. Alright. Oh, that sounds so nice. That took that beautifully. Just like it should. Sounds good as it's spinning up. Then, well. Oh, I gotta insert the other disc first. Well, we know it's working now, though. It's reading what it's got to. It says I gotta put this one in first. And it sounded good. Yeah, sounds great loading the disc. It's taking it perfectly. Just want to make sure it starts to... I'm not going to let it fully install. This is my stepdad's Xbox One S. So, just want to make sure it's all working properly for him. And everything is sounding good. It's reading the disc. So make sure it comes up on the screen here. There, it's... Yep, ready to install the game. So we're all good to go on there. Awesome. Well, I'm going to... It's not usually good to do this, but I'm going to pop it out anyways. Not going to let it fully install. Awesome. Well, there you have it. Xbox One S. Working perfectly now, all cleaned up with some fresh grease and stuff in that disk drive to keep that thing moving smoothly. My stepdad should enjoy this thing now with no issues and have fun with it. Well, there you have it, folks. A nice, clean Xbox One S. We did some stuff to there. We got the disk drive all working perfectly. We got those gears all greased up with some new fresh grease and the rails for the laser. Got that intake wheel for the disk drive all cleaned up so it's taking in the discs and ejecting them as smooth as can be. Got that fan all cleaned up. Got all the grime and nasty stuff off there, so that's working nice and smooth. Gonna keep this Xbox One S nice and cool. And then plus got the rest of it all cleaned out, all the dust bunnies, and they're all nice and blown out. So my stepdad is gonna be able to enjoy his Xbox One S with no issues or anything, and be able to play games for hours and hours. So anyways, until next time, keep that solder flowing. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.